Number 91. The possible tomb of Samson and his father Manoah. These are the possible graves of Manoah and his son Samson, who judged Israel for 20 years. 2. Valley of Elah, where David fought Goliath. This is the Valley of Elah, between where David, the teenage boy from Bethlehem, faced off against the Philistine warrior Goliath of Gath, who stood over 9 feet tall. The famous epic battle happened here. Number 93. Gath, hometown of Goliath, where Goliath inscription found. In 2005, the earliest deciphered Semitic Philistine inscription ever was found. It was discovered by Dr. Aaron Meyer, professor of Bar Ilan University in Tel Aviv, Israel. He directed an archaeological dig at Tel Es Safi, which has been identified as the biblical city of Gath. Both Aaron Dembski and Dr. Stefan Wimmer were involved in the excavations at Tel Es Safi. A small shard of pottery was found with an inscription. The name written on the piece of pottery is phonetically identical to Goliath, with Semitic letters read left to right, TWLA and WLT. Goliath was a giant and champion of the Philistines. Goliath was a Gittite from the town of Gath of the Philistines. The Goliath inscription is on a shard of pottery dating from this time period around 1000 to 950 BC. This provides evidence that someone named Goliath was living in Gath during this time period. Scientific evidence of giant humans. On November 12, 2013, while at the University of Witwatersrand, South Africa, Dr. Francis Thackeray, PhD, Anthropology, Yale University, Honorary Research Associate, Evolutionary Studies Institute at the University of Witwatersrand, South Africa, showed a huge partial femur bone that was found in the 1960s in the Burj Aukus mine in the Otavi Mountains of Namibia. The segment was only 47% complete length of a femur. It came from a cave that was formed out of Precambrian rock. The person to whom the femur belonged is believed to have lived in the mid-Pleistocene era, and more bones of this individual were available, but sadly were not collected. Dr. Thackeray admits that the bone is Homo sapiens, anatomically modern human, and based on the size of the femur bone, it would be twice the size of a modern-day human, 9 to 10 feet. Dr. Thackeray showed this femur next to a normal human femur, which is part of the Philip V. Tobias Primate and Hominid Fossil Laboratory at the University of Witwatersrand, South Africa. Number 94. The Cave of Adullam, where David hid from Saul with his men. In this very cave, the young man David hid from his father-in-law, King Saul, who sought to take his life. David's own family came to him here, and within a short time, he had a following of about 400 discontented, debt-ridden, and distressed men. 95. The En-Gedi Oasis, where David hid with his men. This is En-Gedi, where David and his men hid from jealous King Saul and 3,000 men who kept seeking his life. He hid in a certain cave in this area while Saul was there and cut off a piece of his robe because he would not harm the Lord's anointed king. Number 96. Ziklag, where David and army lived before becoming king of Judah. Excavations of this site began in 2015, and many artifacts showed that this city once belonged to the Philistines. According to Professor Yosef Garfinkel of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, Tel Sarah is the town of Ziklag, given to David by Achish, the Philistine king. David, his men, and their wives and children lived in this Philistine town. Although Amalekite raiders stole the women and children from David and his men and burned the city, they pursued them and miraculously recovered everyone back again. Number 97. Mount Gilboa, where Saul and his sons were killed. This is Mount Gilboa, where King Saul, for the first king of Israel, committed suicide, and his 3 sons were killed by the Philistines. The king of Israel was dead, but this opened the way for David to take his place. Number 98. Ruins of King David's royal palace in Jerusalem. In 2005, Israeli archaeologist Dr. Eilat Mazar announced that the stepped stone structure and Millo, all part of a palace complex that belonged to the royal bloodline of David's family from approximately 1000 to 586 BC, was discovered in Jerusalem. It was destroyed by the Babylonians under Nebuchadnezzar II in 586 BC. As well, a square column was discovered that dates from the time period of King David. The archaeologist listed above theorized that the stepped structure could be a ramp, a retaining wall, or a fortress. It was possibly the structure known as the Millo in Scripture. The word Millo in Hebrew is derived from the word fill, like landfill, and that certainly matches the description. This area was also excavated by Dame Dr. Kathleen Kenyon, Dr. Israel Finkelstein, Dr. Yigael Yaden, and by archaeologist R.A.S. McAllister. None of them could fully identify the structure until Dr. Eilat Mazar of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem made this monumental discovery, the palace of King David and his royal successors in Jerusalem. Number 99. Forest of Ephraim, where Absalom hung by his hair and died. These are the forests of Ephraim, where Absalom, the son of David, was riding a mule and then caught by his hair in an oak tree. Absalom plotted to take the kingdom away from his father and paid for this treachery with his life. 100. Traditional tomb of David on Mount Zion. This is the traditional tomb of King David. It is located on Mount Zion in Jerusalem beneath the Crusader-era upper room structure. In this Jewish holy site, the men and women are kept separate and pray and meditate on both sides of the tomb. Likely, the actual burial place of King David is in another place, as his dynastic tombs were destroyed by the enemies of Israel.